we're going to jump right in with the two hardest questions of all. Who are you and what have you been up to recently?
Yay. So I'm Veronica Zora Kirin. Um, I am a serial entrepreneur, author, and anthropologist studying paradigm shifts. So when I write, when I speak, when I build businesses, it's always around paradigm shifts. But in music, I'm known just as Zora Kirin, and I think I'm a little bit softer around the edges.
Wow, you must be always busy.
Um, I don't know. I live, you're gonna live once.
Mhm.
So let's do it.
Yeah,
That's my attitude.
that's a good attitude to have. What have you been doing recently?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So specifically recently, so I just onboarded with a energy tech company as a freelancer. I had a startup which I closed at the end of last year, due to lack of funding. It was a women's
Mm,
health startup, so I guess we're not surprised, unfortunately. A little
yeah.
shade there. And I run a magazine called Anodyne Magazine, and we are an arts and lit journal, specifically advocating for mental health equity. Our next issue comes out in 2 weeks, so I have been fighting design and getting things organized and herding a lot of cats, to be
Hmm.
honest, in order to get that out the door. And I think I also mentioned to you I'm working on my first EP musically,
Yeah.
so like nobody knows it yet. This is like going to be where people find out actually
Hmm.
that I'm finally doing the thing.
So what led you to finally putting out an EP?
Well, so like I'm looking at this body of music, in the 5 songs that I've selected for the EP. I'm running through them. I'm in the middle of recording them and polishing them, and then also practicing for the launch party. And one of the things that I want to say during the party, which is going to be on my 40th birthday, so like it's like a whole deal. And I'm planning to say that some of these songs, one of them was written in 2006. One of them was written in 2011. One of them was written in 2013. And it's taken me this long to just fucking do it. And
Hmm.
so fucking do it. And that's going to be basically like my wisdom to impart the audience. Like I'm also a writer, as you've probably, heard and noticed from all the various hats I'm wearing. And I have a lot of notes. I have a lot of outlines. I have things
Hmm.
that people could pick up and understand without me if necessary. Music doesn't
Yeah.
work that way. I
Hmm.
can't explain to you the symphony of sounds that I'm hearing throughout every single second of the song and how they're
Hmm.
supposed to swell and flow and carry the audience. And so I kind of just really sat with that like I've been wanting to do this for so long. Technology has come a long way, so I have a lot more control in my own hands. It's a lot cheaper for me to do it as well.
Yeah.
Vinyl's back, which is awesome. It's so like just it's and I live in Berlin. It's one of the top music cities in the world. So I don't have good excuses anymore. I only have like time that is against me and
Hmm.
like your typical ADHD kid with a hard deadline, beautiful things can happen.
Hmm. Well, I'm glad that you're finally getting it out there.
I am too. I am
It's
too, especially because
exciting.
like the demos that are online right now are just kind of like really bleh. Like I don't feel like I don't like sharing them. I want something I'm proud of. I'm proud of the
Hmm.
work I've written. I'm not proud of the recordings that exist right
Are
now.
you proud of the new ones that you're recording?
Yeah, I mean not this week with this whole like frog in my throat, but
Hmm.
other than that, yeah, and I'm pulling together a team of like fellow queer women in order to master it. And I'm currently looking for a female bagpiper, so if you know one, please send them
Ooh,
my way. Yeah.
I do not, but that sounds fascinating.
Just sending out the feelers. I've been in like all of my music groups right now, just sending out the message like, who knows the Flinta bagpiper? Because I actually have two bagpipers in my family,
Oh,
who I
wow.
would totally work with, except for there's really scary conservative people that don't like queer women like me. So
Gotcha.
yeah, so I'm reaching into the community. Plus, how badass would it be to debut the EP and then like have a bagpiper come on stage and play with me for one of the
That'd be
songs?
pretty
Like
cool.
Come on.
I always thought bagpipes are so like cool, but like I would never. They seem so hard to play.
Oh yeah, they are. They take insane lung capacity. Like take
Hmm.
what a trumpeter does and double it. Like I know every trumpeter out there is like rolling in the graves. I'm so sorry. But like because literally you are filling this bag. It's fascinating mechanics though because you're actually not playing the pipes like with your lungs. When the
Hmm.
sound comes up, it's your air in the bag,
Right.
past tense. So it's like this whole kind of like continual looping. The bag basically enables like circle breathing, where
Hmm.
like otherwise you would have had to learn circle breathing. The bag's doing it for you. So it's fascinating. Yeah, but I'm not going to like try to learn bagpipes in 4 months. We're not that insane. I've got enough on my
That would
plate.
be kind of cool if you did, though.
It would be nutso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah.
help with your breathing, I'm sure.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. It'd be, I think it would like look great on the Wikipedia page. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not.
I wonder how long it even takes to learn.
Um, I actually don't know. I never asked my cousins exactly how long it took them to master it or even just to get like partway decent, but you can
Hmm.
see when any bagpiper is working at it, like you can see their whole carriage is
Yeah.
moving and then clamping down, and their cheeks also are usually doing a lot of work to create that
Hmm.
pressure. Um,
Yeah, you don't
yeah,
see too many like children playing bagpipes.
yeah, there's a few, right? But like there is a guy on TikTok right now who's making the rounds, and I'm forgetting his name right off the top of my head, but like he's trying to have like the song of the summer and does play bagpipes. It's like a very folky, it gives Mumford and Sons, but with
Hmm.
bagpipes. But like otherwise, I think he's the only active musician right now that I would definitively be able to like name and point to who is a mainstream,
Hmm.
and say like this is a bagpiper. So we'll see if I can find one. Otherwise, I'll use technology, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
It'd be
No.
I pr
I'm sure you'll find somebody.
Yeah, we can do this.
You've got this. I'm sure there are
Yeah,
plenty of people who like secretly play bagpipes and don't tell anybody.
maybe so.
I don't know. Like a hidden talent,
Closet bagpipers. Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
like a party talent.
Yeah. Well, I'm so like I think it's like kind of swings back to why I originally reached out to you because I actually didn't, like reach out to you about my album. I reached out to
Hmm.
you about, being a passionate fan of U2 and the essay I recently wrote about Bono's approach to nonviolence, which I think
Hmm.
is really relevant, even more relevant than when I wrote it 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But like that's also an Irish band, and yet they only use bagpipes infrequently, which is
Hmm.
kind of funny.
Did you want to talk about your article?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I mean, like, so I wrote this because I study paradigm shifts. So like, just like to reel it back into what I do academically. I'm
Hmm.
very fascinated by how things change, why things change, and even how to make things change while also having resiliency. Because when you understand the
Hmm.
mechanisms for change, then you can be resilient within that. You don't like
Yeah.
totally lose yourself. And I'm noticing with AI, with wars, with climate change, there's a sense,
Hmm.
especially within the millennial population, of like, oh my God, everything's always on fire. Why? And and I don't think that change has to be so violent. Like
Hmm.
I really do believe in the ability of the human race. I also believe that that like, fear and trauma are absolutely um how do I want to put that? Like they very much get in the way of our ability to have community and connect and
Hmm.
to do do what we're so well capable of. Like we're
Yeah.
incredible thinkers. That's like our evolutionary edge is like long distance running and thinking, problem solving. And so I wanted to speak to that. I want to speak to that moment, especially because you two had put out a new EP after 9 years of near silence.
Hmm.
As far as new material goes. And then they went ahead and put out another new EP like right afterwards. So I'm like losing my mind as a fan. But it's all kind of like around that central theme of like there's a lot of upheaval going on.
Hmm.
Why? What does this all mean? What what is our role as individuals?
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I really love about you two in general, Bana in particular, this sense of humility. Like I am just one human being, so what impact can I have? And yet also the butterfly effect is real.
Hmm.
Our influence on our sphere of community absolutely matters and
Yeah.
does have a ripple effect. Um, and so that was why like that was the moment that I felt like I needed to write about his philosophy in particular. Um, yeah, so that's out there. I do draw, some inspiration. Like you'll hear that in my music when it does come out. But it's only because I agree with that sentiment that we have more power than we think we do.
Hmm.
My research proves it. That's why I study paradigm shifts. My research proves every individual has more power than we're led to believe. And I see that people have this sense of overwhelm, which is leading to collapse when you
Hmm.
have more agency, like when you have more power, when you have more agency in a situation, but you don't have the tools, then you don't know how to, capture
Yeah.
that and move forward with it. So that's where my music comes into play. That's why I say it's like my softer side, because like I have a very like hard hitting persona, like as a professional, and then like musically, lyrically, even in my yeah, because like even my poetry is like very cutting, and
Hmm.
then my music is trying to do the other work of like it's okay, and you also can do more than you think you can.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, in studying the paradigm shifts, do you have a favorite paradigm shift you've ever studied?
Um, oh God. Um, I don't know. Well, so that's so funny you're asking because like I'm so occupied with AI right now, but to zoom out, like as far as my personal studies go, my favorite was what I wrote my book about. So like I went and interviewed people who were of what I defined as the last analog generation. So people who were
Hmm.
born into unelectrified houses. They got the first radios, the
Yeah.
first televisions in the neighborhoods. I interviewed a woman who went to school every day in a crank car. Like I don't know
Hmm.
that people we like wind up cars were real and you would ride in them. Like I don't know that like younger generations actually know that.
Hmm.
Like there were no windows. She would talk about how it was wintertime and like she would have like just this curtain, sitting in the car waiting for it to like run long enough that they could use it to go to school because it was a farm
Hmm.
town. So like she had to like, she couldn't just walk to school.
Right.
But I wanted to talk to those people about what it's like to now have an iPhone,
Hmm.
like that transformation. Um, and so I would say it's my favorite study, not necessarily because of the topic, even though I do have a fixation on technology in general,
Hmm.
but the people I got to meet and the stories I got to hear, it was kind of like being the giver. Like if you read the book The Giver,
Yeah.
like brilliant, phenomenal work. It's actually not a trilogy. What do you call it? Where it's a quadrilogy. Oh my God, I'm a writer. I should know that. But so there's four books. People don't know there's more
Yeah.
books.
I've read all of them. Love,
Yeah,
love them.
yeah, like brilliant. Oh, so good. Um, but I felt like that. Like I felt like I was being given these stories that were not my own, these
Hmm.
memories that were not my own. And it connected me backwards in time in a way that nothing else could have done it. Even just
Yeah.
speaking with grandparents, grandparents really tailor to your experience. They might say, back in my day, but you're not in it. Whereas I was, as an anthropologist, intentionally working to really understand what was it like when you were a child? What
Hmm.
was your favorite toy? What was it like growing up? Did you go to school? Did you go to uni? Because those are two different questions back then.
Yeah.
What was your career? And so marking through time, not just how did technology come into play,
Hmm.
but also just like what life was like.
Yeah.
So I have 100 people in my head that are far older than me. The oldest person that I interviewed, there were two women, both in Missoula, Montana. So whatever they're putting in the water, y'all, they're both 107.
Wow.
What? So I, yeah, it's my favorite
Yeah.
study just because these people imbued me with their experiences and their memories. And I see how I am but a blip, and yet my influence does matter. Like it helped with
Hmm.
both that
Yeah.
humility of like, I'm here for a split second as far as time goes.
Right.
But, but also, I mean, I get people writing me fairly often that the book has had meaning to them, especially as AI comes on. So,
Yeah, I've had a similar
yeah.
experience. So my day job, I work at a senior living facility. I do activities. And our oldest resident who recently passed away, he was 104, World War II vet. So, yeah, I completely
Yes.
understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, 1,000%. And so you're spending even more time with them. So you're probably getting these like very off the cuff, kind of like, oh, by the way, this thing happened
Hmm.
that, like these like bombs for you, like these like, huge
Yep.
drops are coming to you. And for them, it's just like this off the cuff, offhand, like, oh
And we have
yeah,
a lot
this
of people who are
memory.
immigrants, a lot from Italy. Um, and so they're talking about like war or something that they lived through. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
wow. I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
think my life is hard. And then,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm also an immigrant now, and so like I've had to really like sit with that privilege growing up in North America where like I was so far away from war. I had
mhm.
no idea what it meant, and now I'm like literally one country away from Ukraine. It's so
Yeah.
close. And then my cousins lived through it as Yugoslavia fell because I'm Croatian. So like they tell me about their experiences,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that's very important. A very important opportunity for all of us to like reach into the experiences of others because our experience is so insular. We have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. You
And that's
can't
the beauty of
understand the
music, I
world
think.
until you understand
Right.
everyone around you.
Yeah. Which is a lifetime of work, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Never stops.
It doesn't. Yeah. But I think that's like to come back to music, like that's a beautiful opportunity that music gives us because
Hmm.
like for example, there are anthropologists who only study music
Yeah.
because music is such an interesting communicator. Music structure is different in different cultures. Like
Hmm.
in Western culture, I think what we have like the the octaves of do, re, mi, fa, so. Yeah, I was gonna say seven, and then I was like, no, yeah, seven notes, right? And then the half
Hmm.
notes, right? And that's about it. But I believe it's in India, there's 21 notes that like
Hmm.
the ear is attuned to, and like all these different cultures have different ideas of what music is and sounds like.
Yeah.
And so then that communicates so much, let alone then what the lyrics are communicating, what the
Hmm.
emotion is communicating. Like Sigur Rós is incredibly famous for having made up their own language for a whole damn album. I don't understand them. They barely understand them, but I understand in my
Hmm.
soul what's happening, what's being conveyed, which,
Yeah.
John C. says that he was trying to convey the beauty that he sees around him in Iceland.
Hmm.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. I think that's also the fascinating thing about, as you were saying, it doesn't have to be in your language for you to understand it. Even if
Yeah.
you never look up what the lyrics mean, you know what it means.
Yeah. And like with you working with elders as well, have you come across people with dementia, or Alzheimer's, who will
Yeah.
kind of like perk up with music?
Oh, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the only part of the brain, one of the only parts of the brain that's totally untouched
Hmm.
by
It's
dementia or
like,
by Alzheimer's.
yeah, if they hear like their wedding song or a song that really means something to me, all of a sudden they have this fascinating story to tell me
Yeah.
about that time.
Yeah, completely. They're like in this moment of time, like
Hmm.
really back there, which is another like fascinating thing about humanity is like, is time linear? I think our brains are maybe linear and time is perhaps not. So then that music hits and they're like reaching back. It's like they're there, they're in
Yeah,
that moment. It's incredible. I think it's
it
one of the
is.
like,
And it's really
yeah.
crazy to see because, like, you listen to music and you're like, okay, like, I love this song. You listen to it all the time. And then,
Hmm.
like, you'll listen to it and it will remind you of like that time or that summer or like whatever was going on then. But then you don't realize that like further down the line, it will still remind you of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like smells, like that smell
Hmm.
of the cookies, right? Like it takes you back. That song will take you back. And
Hmm.
you don't totally realize it. Yeah, because like um when I was in school, for example, like Blue Dabba Dee came out, the
Hmm.
original, god damn it. And it was on all the time. And so like I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm like an enormous fan, but um but that song, when I hear that song, I'm back on the dance floor in high school,
Hmm.
you know? Or like Baby Got Back. Absolutely. I'm aging myself. I already said I'm 40, y'all know. Like, but those songs, right? Like very much like I remember hearing them on the dance floors
Hmm.
at school. And so I'm back in school when I hear them, for better or worse.
Yeah. So yeah, those songs
Yeah.
can be either good or bad, remind you of good or bad memories, but still brings you
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. 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 And what an honor too to like as a songwriter, one can only aspire, I think, to having maybe one of your songs or even part of one of your songs be that to somebody.
Hmm.
That I think is like if I can wish that like one person, one song for me, and it anchors a memory for them, like shit, man.
Yeah.
That's that's success.
Hmm.
That's it. I don't need all the money. That's it.
Yeah.
That's a lifetime of impact.
Hmm.
Holy cow. I actually didn't think about that yet. No, I'm like,
Is that scaring you?
no, it's not scaring me.
Okay. Good.
It's creating depth where where I hadn't gone before.
Hmm.
It's beautiful, actually.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of artists create the music about how they're feeling in the moment. They don't necessarily think how it's going to affect people down the line,
Right.
which is not
Yeah.
necessarily
I
something you need to think about when you're making music, of course.
no, yeah, no, like you like stay in the moment. Like
Right.
let the creative juices flow. Everything else can come later. But yeah, I do wonder like, did Taylor Swift like when she writes all these breakup songs, like she was definitely feeling the breakup.
Hmm.
Was she thinking also like what will people feel about this after? Like, I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, music is interesting that way, isn't it?
It is.
It's a personal time capsule that becomes like a time capsule for everyone else to put their own experiences and memories on. So it becomes this like total vehicle for a collective
Hmm.
experience, but it was born out of a very individual moment.
Right. But there's always those songs that everyone remembers from like specific years or like, when you were in middle school, like the most popular song, even if you didn't like it, it was probably played all the time around you, and everyone that you went to middle school with hears that song and remembers that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
What
they're
would be
remembering
one of
something
those?
different.
But yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like they're like they have their own like view of what that song means. So even though they were standing in the same room as you, perhaps at the same moment, they were experiencing something different. And so then they experience something different in the song.
Hmm. And
It's
that's fascinating. Like when you come back to a song you haven't heard in a while and you feel something different from it.
hmm Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely noticed like the new colors, new depths. There's music that I like, so, again, like my favorite band is U2. I listen to them fairly often. Actually, not as often as you would think, though, because there is so much depth there that it takes a lot of my attention. But like there are songs that I won't listen to necessarily for a while for whatever
Hmm.
reason. And then come back to, and I noticed for the first time something that Adam was doing on the bass or something that Larry was doing on the drums that made it that gives it more depth and more meaning. Or
Hmm.
like I find a new meaning in the lyric.
Yeah.
Bono's really good lyricist, and so then there's always these like dual, triple, even quadruple meanings, these layered meanings that are meant to be there, which in my opinion makes it timeless. That's
Yeah.
like goals.
I think most music is timeless
Yeah.
because I
Yeah,
think
but
even
not
if it's,
I wouldn't say
what do
it's
you
like
say?
anachronistic. Like I think like there are definitely songs that if you listen to it, you're like, yeah, that was written in the 60s or something.
Yeah.
Like you can like tell like the synth
Hmm.
development in the 70s or 80s, like it has a very specific
Yeah.
sound because certain sounds had only just been invented, but
You can still relate to
otherwise.
it and feel the same
Yeah.
way about it that people did back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like maybe even like in a new way, but it's
Hmm.
still like it has relevance. It can find relevance.
Yeah.
It's this one. That's what I love about people who study music. Like they talk constantly about how it's this universal language. Like even though
Hmm.
the words may be in a specific literal language,
Yeah.
it's such an emotive experience that just like we said before, like it can go across cultures, across nations, and connect with others. It's such a beautiful medium.
It really is. It's one of it's obviously one of my favorite mediums as I have a podcast about it.
You don't say. I'm sure you've heard this before, but for those who haven't, there's a theory in anthropology that music was born in humans via birds, by birdsong,
Oh.
that we heard birdsong and we're trying to kind of emulate what that was. And that's why there are actually certain animals that can like engage in music
Hmm.
and some that can't. Most that can't, but some that can. So that's kind of like the
I
running
didn't know
theory right
that.
now.
That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah. Because like
I'm gonna hear birds so differently now.
yeah. I mean, birds are amazing in general.
Yeah.
I think like we've been getting into birding a little bit lately, partly because of that. Like you hear these sounds, especially again, like I'm an immigrant on a different continent. So like I'm hearing sounds I've never heard before.
Hmm.
And that can be both disorienting but also very exciting. So getting to know those sounds does imbue meaning into the place I'm in. But I mean, yeah, they're majestic as fuck. Like there are
Yeah.
these creatures that can literally fly. They're dinosaurs.
Hmm.
They and yeah, they have this like beautiful way. Some of them only can speak their own language and some of them can replicate other languages,
Hmm.
including ours, which is
Crazy.
what? Yeah. Yeah.
So before I ask the last question, was there anything else you want to mention or talk about today?
Well, I was going to ask you what song
Yeah.
holds that like high school history for you.
Ooh, trying to think. I feel like I have to look because there's like
Oh
a
no.
couple of different ones, but I'm trying to think like what would be like.
Like if I put you right now, if I took like your little avatar and like dropped you onto the dance floor, if you attended school dances, I guess is
Mhm.
another question, but
Probably
what would be
like
playing?
songs by like either like We Are Young or Some
Mm.
Nights. Like those were playing
Hmm.
a lot.
Yeah, those are good songs too. Those are
Hmm.
fun. Those are fun to dance to, and those are great. Yeah, great for being young.
Yeah, I
Surprise,
feel like that probably
surprise.
those songs. Like I hear those in the car and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's nice. That's really great. And do they get you dancing every time, or is it like, oh God, turn that thing off?
Depends. Depends on how I'm feeling, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
amazing.
So was there anything else you wanted to mention or talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So our last question is, what is the soundtrack of your life?
And do you mean all like a full soundtrack, like list of songs, a particular album, a particular film, or just one song?
It can be any of those.
I'm such an
It is
anthropologist. I'm like,
it is
I need to
supposed
know.
to be super ambiguous because
What
it's
do you
supposed to be an
mean by
insight.
that?
It's supposed to be an
Mm.
insight into you and how you can
So
like think about
I
that.
I'll go back to my favorite U2 song, um, because I think it does a really good job of like defining what I experience in life, and that is
Mhm.
Zooropa, the song, not the album. The album's fine, but the song is a masterpiece. Partly because of its crescendos, but also especially because of its lyrics. So the song begins first half very much questioning what the fuck is life? What am I
Mhm.
doing here? Why am I here? Does anything matter? Let's just like make it all better by buying stuff. So it
Mhm.
like leans very much into this weird like dichotomy between I'm a human but capitalism, what? Like it's
Yeah.
very much like floating in that space. And then there's a shift in the music and a shift in the soundscape and an acceleration, and it transitions to saying like fuck all of that, like
Hmm.
I don't know the answers, and that's the point. That's like the
Yeah.
whole, like he says at one point, I've been hiding, what am I hiding from? Like you you just have to live life, and you have to live it with all of this uncertainty. And so I
Hmm.
find myself going back and forth in life. Like I became an anthropologist because I'm so curious about what makes us human, and like what is this? What is this
Yeah.
thing? Like what it like are do what, like it's just like bizarre that we're even here. Um and yet anthropology by definition is probably one of the most humble areas of academia, because it is constantly saying, I know nothing
Hmm.
and nothing is true. And by that, I mean, whatever your way of doing things is 100% valid, but there are probably thousands of other ways of doing that same thing.
Hmm.
And thus, there is no one way of doing it. So it, I have to live within that space of like, I want to know, I want to understand. And there's a discomfort in that desire. And on the flip side, life is literally about just giving in and
Hmm.
accepting the unknowns, and enjoying the ride anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I'm really, either when I need a boost, put it on while you're driving, put it on while you're going down a road, like with all the windows down. It's a
Hmm.
great song for that. But I come back to it and I really tune into the lyrics when I'm like stuck, uncertain. Yeah, because it's a good kick in the ass of like, get out of your ego, just get back into life. Everything's fine.
We all need that sometimes.
Hmm. Yes.
So, for all our listeners who want to stay updated on you, read your book, read some of your articles, where can they find you?
So they can easily find me at veronicakirin.com. And they'll be able to also find my music there if they scroll to the footer. My music and art is there. Or they can also find that at Zora Kirin on the socials.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. Have a nice rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.